For years, people have been told that if they just think positively enough, visualize clearly enough, or repeat the right affirmations, life will eventually respond. And yet, for many, nothing truly changes. Opportunities still feel distant. Motivation rises and collapses. The gap between intention and reality remains stubbornly wide. What if the problem was never a lack of belief, discipline, or spiritual alignment? What if the real obstacle has been biological? Modern neuroscience is beginning to reveal an uncomfortable truth. Your nervous system decides what is possible for you long before your conscious mind does. Long before you believe in something, your body has already categorized it as safe, threatening, or irrelevant. And once that decision is made, your thoughts simply follow. This explains a paradox that countless people experience but rarely understand. They know what they want. They can imagine it vividly. They may even feel inspired while doing so. Yet when real opportunities appear, their body tightens, their breath shortens, and hesitation takes over. They procrastinate, they self-sabotage, or they dismiss the opportunity entirely without knowing why. From the perspective of the nervous system, this behavior is not failure. It is protection. The human body evolved to prioritize survival over success. If your system does not feel safe expanding, receiving, or being seen, it will quietly shut those doors, no matter how compelling your goals may be. In this state, manifestation practices don't fail because they are wrong. They fail because the body is not in a condition that allows them to work. There is a biological switch inside you that determines whether life feels open or constricted, whether chance encounters turn into breakthroughs or disappear unnoticed. This switch governs your breath, your heart rhythm, your emotional range, and even your capacity to perceive possibility. And most people are trying to change their lives without ever touching it. When this system is dysregulated, effort increases but results diminish. When it is regulated, effort becomes almost secondary. You begin to notice opportunities instead of chasing them. Conversations flow differently. Decisions feel clearer. Life starts to respond with less resistance, not because you are forcing it, but because your body is finally in a state that allows movement forward. The question then is not how to think better or want more strongly. The question is how to bring your nervous system into a state where change is biologically permitted. And surprisingly, the doorway to that state may require only a few minutes a day. At the center of this biological permission system is a single nerve that quietly shapes how you experience reality: the vagus nerve. It is the longest cranial nerve in the body, running from the brainstem down through the throat, heart, lungs, and deep into the digestive organs. Rather than functioning as a simple on-off switch, it acts more like a communication highway, constantly sending signals between your body and your brain about safety, connection, and readiness. What makes the vagus nerve so powerful is not its size, but its influence. It regulates heart rate, breathing patterns, digestion, vocal tone, facial expression, and emotional regulation. In other words, it governs the very signals that determine whether you feel grounded or anxious, open or guarded, energized or depleted. Long before you consciously evaluate a situation, your vagus nerve has already influenced how your body responds to it. This is why two people can encounter the same opportunity and experience it completely differently. One feels curiosity and expansion. The other feels pressure, doubt, or an urge to retreat. The difference is not intelligence or confidence, but the state of the nervous system in that moment. A well-regulated vagus nerve allows the body to interpret novelty as possibility rather than threat. There is also a deeper layer to this system that often goes unnoticed. The vagus nerve is deeply connected to the heart and the gut, sometimes referred to as the second and third brains. These centers process emotional and intuitive information far faster than the thinking mind. When vagal communication is strong, intuition feels clear and grounded. When it is weak or disrupted, intuition becomes distorted by fear and overthinking. Even your voice is shaped by this nerve. The tone, resonance, and rhythm with which you speak are regulated by vagal pathways. This means your nervous system is not only influencing how you feel internally, but also how others unconsciously respond to you. People often describe someone as having a calming presence or magnetic energy without realizing that what they are sensing is a regulated vagal state. When the vagus nerve is functioning optimally, the body enters a state where calm and alertness coexist. You are relaxed, but not passive. Focused, but not tense. This state is not mystical, it is physiological, and it is the foundation upon which creativity, connection, and meaningful change are built. Without understanding this, many people attempt to reshape their lives from the top down, using thought and willpower alone. But the vagus nerve works from the bottom up. It sets the conditions first, and only then allows the mind to operate at its full capacity. Until that communication channel is restored, no amount of positive thinking can override a nervous system that does not feel safe enough to expand. To understand how this nerve shapes everyday behavior, it helps to look at the nervous system not as a single state, but as a dynamic spectrum. According to modern neuroscience, particularly the polyvagal framework, the human body moves through distinct physiological modes that determine how we perceive the world and respond to it. These shifts happen automatically, often without conscious awareness, yet they influence nearly every decision we make. In its most balanced state, the nervous system operates in what is known as a socially engaged, regulated mode. In this state, the body feels safe enough to remain open while staying alert. Breathing is full and rhythmic, the heart responds flexibly, and emotions flow without overwhelming the system. This is when creativity emerges naturally. Communication feels effortless, and challenges are met with curiosity rather than resistance. Growth feels possible because the body is not bracing against it. When pressure increases or uncertainty is interpreted as danger, the system can shift into a more activated survival mode. Here, energy mobilizes quickly, but at a cost. Thoughts become urgent and repetitive, attention narrows, and the body prepares to push, defend, or escape. Many people spend years attempting to build their lives from this state, mistaking tension for motivation. While short bursts of action may occur, sustainability and clarity gradually erode. If activation continues without relief, the nervous system may move into a more collapsed state. Energy drops, emotions flatten, and a sense of disconnection takes hold. Motivation disappears, not because desire is gone, but because the system has learned that engagement is too costly. In this mode, even small tasks feel heavy, and opportunities that require visibility or risk are quietly avoided. What is often misunderstood is that none of these states are choices. They are adaptive responses shaped by past experiences, stress patterns, and unresolved signals of danger. The body is not resisting change out of laziness or fear of success. It is responding exactly as it was designed to. This explains why insight alone rarely produces transformation. You can understand what needs to change and still feel unable to act. You can want expansion and simultaneously feel pulled toward contraction. Until the nervous system is guided back into a regulated state, effort will continue to clash with biology. True change does not begin with forcing yourself into action. It begins with restoring the internal conditions that make action feel safe, natural, and sustainable. One of the clearest ways scientists measure the flexibility of this system is through something called vagal tone. Despite the name, vagal tone does not describe how calm you are, but how quickly and smoothly your nervous system can shift between states. A healthy system can mobilize energy when needed and return to calm without getting stuck. This ability to move fluidly is what allows a person to meet life without being overwhelmed by it. Closely linked to vagal tone is heart rate variability, often shortened to HRV. HRV refers to the subtle variation in time between heartbeats. Contrary to what many assume, a perfectly steady heartbeat is not a sign of health. Variation indicates responsiveness. It shows that the heart and nervous system are communicating efficiently, adjusting moment by moment to internal and external demands. Higher HRV is consistently associated with emotional resilience, clearer decision-making, and faster recovery from stress. From a practical perspective, this matters more than most personal development strategies acknowledge. When your vagal tone is low, the body tends to interpret novelty as risk. New conversations feel draining, opportunities feel heavy. Even positive changes can trigger anxiety or withdrawal because the nervous system is not equipped to handle expansion. In this state, people often turn down chances that could change their lives, not consciously, but through hesitation, delay, or self-doubt. When vagal tone is strong, the opposite occurs. The body remains grounded even when something unfamiliar appears. There is enough internal safety to stay present, assess clearly, and respond rather than react. This is why some individuals seem to attract opportunities. They are not luckier. Their nervous systems are more available to engage. This distinction is critical. Success, connection, and creativity are not just products of mindset or talent. They are biological expressions of regulation. A nervous system that can return to balance quickly creates the internal space necessary for opportunity to be perceived, received, and acted upon. Without this flexibility, effort increases while results diminish. With it, life begins to meet you halfway, because your system is no longer signaling resistance to change. This is where many popular manifestation and mindset techniques quietly fall apart. Visualization, affirmations, and intention setting all operate at the level of the conscious mind. They assume that if the thought is clear enough and repeated often enough, the body will eventually follow. But the nervous system does not take instructions from language alone. It responds to sensation, rhythm, pressure, and breath. When the body is in a survival-oriented state, even positive thoughts can be registered as stress. Repeating affirmations may feel forced or hollow. Visualization can create tension rather than inspiration. Instead of expanding the system, these practices sometimes amplify the very resistance they are meant to dissolve. The mind insists on growth, while the body quietly prepares for danger. This is why people often describe a strange internal split. Part of them wants more visibility, more success, more connection, while another part pulls back the moment things start to move. This is not self-sabotage in the psychological sense. It is a bottom-up response from a nervous system that has learned, often through past overwhelm or disappointment, that expansion is unsafe. True regulation works in the opposite direction. Rather than commanding the system to change, it creates the conditions in which change feels permissible. This is known as bottom-up regulation, where signals from the body inform the brain that it is safe to open, engage, and explore. Once this safety is established, thoughts naturally reorganize without force. In this state, intention no longer feels like effort. Desire does not come with urgency or lack. Visualization becomes embodied rather than mental, felt as a subtle readiness instead of a strained image. The nervous system stops resisting the future because it no longer perceives it as a threat. Without this foundational shift, no amount of mental discipline can override a body that is braced against life. With it, even simple practices begin to work more efficiently because they are finally aligned with the biology that governs response and behavior. This is where intentional vagus nerve activation becomes essential. Rather than trying to calm the mind directly, the goal is to send clear signals of safety and coherence through the body itself. When done correctly, this does not suppress activation or force relaxation. Instead, it guides the nervous system into a state where calm and alertness coexist. The foundation of this approach rests on 3 physiological pathways that strongly influence vagal activity: breath, vibration, and pressure. Slow, structured breathing communicates safety to the brainstem. Gentle vibration, produced through sound or humming, stimulates vagal pathways connected to the throat and chest. Subtle muscular engagement, followed by release, teaches the system how to activate without tipping into stress. Begin by sitting in a position that allows the spine to soften rather than brace. Let the chest remain open while the shoulders drop naturally. The intention is not perfect posture, but ease. This alone begins to shift nervous system signaling. The practice unfolds in 4 short cycles, each lasting roughly 1 minute. In the first cycle, the emphasis is on slowing and deepening the breath. Inhale through the nose for a steady count, allowing the belly to expand. Hold briefly without strain, then exhale slowly through the mouth while producing a low, gentle hum. The vibration should be felt in the chest and throat, not forced from the lips. This combination begins to interrupt the body's default stress rhythm. In the second cycle, light pressure is introduced. As you inhale, gently press the tongue against the roof of the mouth and engage the lower abdominal or pelvic muscles just enough to be noticeable. Hold softly, then fully release as you exhale with the hum. This teaches the nervous system an important distinction. Activation can exist without danger, and release can follow without collapse. The third cycle adds intention, but not as mental effort. During the inhale, bring to mind the feeling of having already stepped into something meaningful, calm confidence, clarity, or ease. Avoid visual detail. Focus instead on the bodily sensation associated with that state. As you hold, allow the sensation to stabilize. As you exhale and hum, imagine that sense of coherence spreading through the chest and abdomen. The final cycle removes intention entirely. The system now integrates the signals it has received. Breathe, engage lightly, release fully, and hum without trying to change anything. Notice the subtle shifts in temperature, breath depth, or emotional tone. These are signs that regulation is occurring at the level where real change begins. In just a few minutes, the body is reminded of a state it often forgets. Safety without passivity, readiness without strain. From here, effort no longer has to fight biology. Once this state becomes familiar, its value extends far beyond the practice itself. Regulation is not something to be reserved for quiet moments or ideal conditions. It is most powerful when applied directly to real life, especially in situations where pressure would normally take over. Many people find this approach particularly effective before moments that require visibility or decision-making. Before an important conversation, a presentation, a creative session, or a negotiation, a few minutes of nervous system regulation can dramatically change how the experience unfolds. Instead of entering with braced energy or forced confidence, the body arrives grounded and responsive. Words come more naturally. Listening improves. The interaction becomes fluid rather than tense. This practice is equally useful during periods of stagnation or emotional fatigue. When motivation disappears or avoidance sets in, the instinct is often to push harder or criticize oneself. Regulation offers a different entry point. By restoring a sense of internal safety, energy begins to return on its own. Tasks that once felt heavy become approachable, not because they changed, but because the nervous system is no longer resisting engagement. Consistency matters more than intensity. Practicing for a few minutes each day, particularly in the morning or before demanding situations, gradually retrains the system. Over time, the regulated state becomes easier to access and lasts longer. What once required deliberate effort begins to emerge spontaneously. Many also notice subtle changes outside of productivity. Sleep improves, digestion becomes steadier, social interactions feel less draining. These shifts are not side effects. They are indicators that the nervous system is learning to operate from balance rather than defense. When regulation becomes a habit, life no longer feels like something to endure or control. It becomes something you can meet directly, with presence and flexibility. At its core, this approach reframes the entire idea of change. You are not trying to force a new reality into existence, nor are you attempting to become someone else in order to deserve it. You are simply creating the internal conditions that allow life to respond without resistance. When the nervous system feels safe, clarity replaces urgency. Action arises without self-coercion. What once felt like effort begins to feel like alignment. This is why meaningful shifts often appear subtle at first. Small conversations, unexpected openings, moments of ease that seem coincidental. Yet over time, these moments accumulate, quietly reshaping the direction of your life. It is important to recognize that regulation is not about eliminating discomfort or avoiding challenge. Growth will still stretch you. Uncertainty will still arise. The difference is that your body no longer interprets these experiences as threats to your survival. They become signals of movement rather than danger. In this state, manifestation stops being a mental exercise and becomes a biological response. You are no longer trying to attract outcomes through desire alone. You are signaling readiness through your physiology. The world responds not to what you want, but to what your system is prepared to receive. You do not need hours of practice, elaborate rituals, or constant self-analysis. A few minutes of intentional regulation, repeated consistently, can shift the baseline from which you meet everything else. From that place, progress feels less like struggle and more like permission. Change, then, is not something you chase. It is something that unfolds when your nervous system finally believes it is safe to move forward.